and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Charmaine, and today we are doing the mid-year freakout tag, book tag, for YouTube. So yeah, that's what we're working on today. How are you guys doing today? What's happening? What's new? What's going on with you? I originally was actually not going to do this tag. I'm a little bit late. Like, most people did it in June, but July is fine, I'm sure. Like, whatever, it's the middle of the year. There is 14 questions that I have here, and I did originally see this on Gabbyreads' channel, but then I ended up seeing like a whole bunch of other people do it. And if I can find the original video that this came from, then I'll link it down in my description box so you guys can check it out, okay? So today we have 14 questions, like I said, and I'm going to talk about the books that I've read so far this year. So again, like I say, it's July while I'm filming this. I have read 32 books this year because I just finished one yesterday. So I read 32 books this year. Originally, I had my goal at 25, but I got to 22 or something like that, and then I amped it up to 35. So I might end up amping up my goal again. I'm not sure if I should like amp it up or if I should just leave it there and just like read above it. Maybe I'll do that. I'm not 100% sure. You know what? Vote down in the comments. Should I amp up the goal, or should I leave the goal as what it is and just read above it? Let me know down in the comments, because I'm not 100% sure. Honestly, this is like my first year really using Goodreads, so I'm kind of getting used to it while I use it. And I don't really write reviews at all. I just do like the stars, that kind of thing. So number one question here is the best book of the year so far in 2024. So I actually have two answers for this. First, I have Belladonna by Adalyn Grace and Odd Thomas by Dean Koontz. We read Odd Thomas for book club here, like the Page Turners book club here on YouTube, and I still think about it. I think it was like February when we read it. I still think about it. It was like unbelievably mind-blowing good book. I loved it so much. I'm so happy that we ended up reading it. And originally I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, but it was so good that it is now July and I still think about that book. That's how good it was. I think I am going to end up reading the rest of the series in that, because I think there's like 4 or 6 of them or something like that. So I think I am going to end up trying to figure out, like, find where I can read the rest of them and read them, because it was so good. It was so good. And Belladonna by Adalyn Grace was my other one. Belladonna it's like a girl who is born, and when she's a baby, there's a party and everybody dies. I'm sorry, because that's a spoiler. But then it's like her life and how she like gets to know death, essentially, is what it is. It's so good. I gotta read Foxglove. Foxglove is number 2. Wisteria is number 3, but that's not out yet. So I'm waiting to read Foxglove, which is number 2, because I want to have the 3rd book out before I read it, because I think it's all the characters together. I'm not 100% sure if it's just like one, like if it's a series, but each book is a standalone or whatever. But I read that via like reading it and listening to the audiobook. I highly recommend the audiobook if you guys get a chance to listen to it. It is so good. That's just mind-blowingly good. Like, if I could give it 20 stars, I would have. That's how good it was. It was insanely good. Number 2 is the best sequel you've read so far in 2024. So I have All in One, which was by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. That's a Naturals series, number 3. I think I'm gonna sneeze. And I'm back. Okay, so it was All In by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. It's number 3 in the Natural series, and it, honestly, out of the entire series, it was my favorite book. Number 3 was like the one where I was like, oh my gosh, I think I had the day off and I read it in like a day and a half, that kind of thing. Like, it was so good. I would have not slept. Like, I would have stayed awake to finish reading it, because that's how good it was. It's kind of like an episode of Criminal Minds, but with teenagers in it, and they solve crimes, and they're naturalists or naturals, so they can pick up, like, if a person's lying, they can tell because of stuff that happened to them in their past. One of them is really good with like math and equations, kind of like Dr. Spencer Reid on Criminal Minds, like, no joke. And then a couple of them can pick up on, like, they know stuff like people's moods and stuff like that kind of thing. It was such a good book series. I highly, highly recommend it. The whole entire series is fantastic. And my second one that I had for the sequels that was my favorite so far is One of Us is Back by Karen M. McManus. We just read that last month. I think it was last month for the Page Turners book club, and it was so good, you guys. That might be my favorite, like, YA mystery series of all time. Like, it is so good. It is so good. I kind of want to maybe end up getting like the collector's editions or something like that. Like, I don't know. I want all of my covers to match. I want them to have fancy stuff in them. Like, they were so, so good. I love that series so much. I'm so, so happy that I got to read that book. It's amazing. I love it. Number 3 is new releases you haven't read yet, but you want to. It's actually, okay, so I have the Threads That Bind here. There is a second one out of this, and it's called, I wrote it down, The Hearts That Cut. And I am waiting to read The Threads That Bind until I get The Hearts That Cut. I do actually have it in my house. I hosted a giveaway, or no, I hosted a raffle on Instagram, and I ended up, my friend in it, like, one of the friends in the group got it for me, and I know that it's in one of the packages there, but I'm saving the packages because I'm trying to not, I'm not going to join any raffles this month, and I'm not going to host any raffles this month, or exchanges, or buy myself any books this month. So I'm like setting those packages aside to open them like when I really, really need to treat myself kind of thing. So I know that the package is in there, but I will be reading The Threads That Bind now because, like, honestly, I've been wanting to read that series so bad. So that's technically my new release that I haven't read yet. And it honestly just came out last week. Like, I think the last week in June. So that was pretty good. I can't wait to read it. I'm so excited. Number 4 is the most oh wait, that was number 4. Wait. No. Okay, so that was number 3. Number 4 is the most anticipated release of the second half of the year, and mine is Ghostsmith by Nikki Powell-Petro and The Grandest Game by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So Ghostsmith is the second one to Bonesmith, which is a book, like, I gotta wait until the second one comes out because I'm pretty sure once I start reading it, I don't know, I'm gonna have to have a couple of days off of work because I do not think that I'm gonna put that book down once I read it. Like, and you guys know, because like my memory is not 100%, that I kind of have to have the books at the same time, because if I end up having a big gap in between, I won't remember what the first one's about. So I'm waiting until the second one comes out on that one. And then The Grandest Game is a start of a new series for Jennifer Lynn Barnes, who is now an auto-buy author for me because I love her and she has such good series, and like, she does YA, mystery, thriller kind of things. Oh, I can't wait to read it. She also did the Inheritance games. Like, that's a big one. I have all of them. I just haven't read them yet. So I'm excited for that. Number 5 is your biggest disappointment. So I don't normally, like, I mean, if I'm not into a book, I'm not going to bash a book, that kind of thing. But this one I did end up reading for my online book club, and the writing wasn't my favorite. I mean, like, I can't speak properly, as you guys just saw, so, like, I'm not bashing anybody else. But it wasn't my favorite, so I didn't really enjoy it that much. And it was Gothicana by Rue Nix. I just didn't really like the book that much. Somebody else picked it, though, and, like, I also don't want to knock other people's book choices in book club, because obviously you wanted to read that book, that's why you suggested it. So I try and not, like, knock other people's book choices as well. It just wasn't for me. I didn't really enjoy the writing that much. The bantering back and forth was okay, but I don't know, it was kind of like a little open-ended, like they didn't really finish a couple of things, or there was like stuff that was in the book that didn't necessarily need to be there, if you know what I mean. But, I mean, I still gave it a 3 stars. So, and if there's a book that I'm not going to finish, that's usually because I just am not in the mood to read it. It's not because I'm like, you know what, this book isn't for me. Because I've really never had a part where I've been like, you know what, this book isn't for me. Some of them, I think there's one that I decided to give away because I just decided that, like, in my mindset, like, that's not a good book for me to read. But other than that, I don't think that I've ever had a part where I've been like, this book is terrible, because I just don't read them, you know? Biggest surprise is number 6, and that's Red Rising. It's this one here. It's by Pierce Brown. Super good book. It's like a futuristic world set on, I think it's Mars, and there's like different classes, and you know, you're a red, you're a gold, you're a blue, that kind of thing, in different layers of the world. Super good sci-fi kind of fantasy kind of book. I gave it 5 stars, but I don't think I'm going to read the rest of the series. That's actually, like, I just really have no interest in reading the rest of the series, even though I gave this book 5 stars. And I think it's, like, a fantastic book. I just, at the end of it, I was like, you know what, that was super good, and I really, really enjoyed it. I really, really liked it, but I have no interest in reading the rest of them. So that's kind of where I am with that, and I think I have all of them. I think there's, like, 5 of them, and I have them all. But and that could just be like, I'm not interested in them right now. And because I'm such a mood reader, you guys know, I change my mind all the time. Like I'm halfway through a book and I'm like, you know what, this isn't for me right now. And I set it aside. So that's kind of like maybe where I am with that. But I really enjoyed it. Like I super loved the first book. I thought it was fantastic. The writing's really insane. It's like a totally different kind of story than I've ever read, because it's more sci-fi kind of like fantasy. It's totally different than anything I've ever read. I highly recommend it to everybody. I just don't feel as though I'm gonna like continue on with the series. So that's where my biggest surprise was. Number 7 is your new favorite author, debut or new to you. Mine is Caroline Peckham and Susan Valenti. They write the Zodiac Academy series. I am on number 4. I think I'm like a quarter of the way in on number 4. They're like 700 pages each, these books. They're so good. I want to read more. And I found out they are fantasy bully romances. So technically I'm reading romance, which I did not realize. I was just like, there's fantasy with some like spicy parts in there. You know what I mean? Like I didn't realize that it was actually, but they're listed as romance books. So there you go, Taylor. I'm reading some romance. You guys know my friend Taylor. I don't really like romance. She loves romance. So yeah, I'm really enjoying those two authors. I think they're amazing. Number 8 is your newest fictional crush. So this is actually a character from the Zodiac Academy. His name is Lance Orion. He's a teacher in the book. He's also a vampire. He's kind of a jerk. Like, I love the writing on him. I'm blushing a little bit, as a matter of fact. I'm just saying, homeboy's hot. Okay. And then number 9 is your newest favorite character, Tori Vega from the Zodiac Academy. You guys, I'm obsessed with this. I am obsessed with this series. Like, honestly, I read 3 books in June, and one of them was the Zodiac Academy, and it's like 700 pages. So it did take a long time. But I only read 3 books in June because I could not put down the Zodiac Academy. And it takes a long time to read it because, again, it's 700 pages. Like, so I'm just enjoying those books, I tell you. Number 10 is A Book That Made You Cry, Odd Thomas by Dean Koontz. Holy my gosh. So we listened to it via audiobook, my boyfriend and I listened to the end of it while he was sleeping, and I was like hardcore sobbing. Like the ugly cry. You know, the ugly one that you like don't want people to see. That ugly cry, that's the crying I was doing. And then my boyfriend woke up and I told him I finished it and he was like, how was it? And I was like, well, we're gonna listen to it now. And then I, again, hardcore ugly sob cried. That book, if you have not read it, please do. It is so good. If you haven't read it and you want to go and check out our reviews, like it is the Page Turner's Book Club. We have the reviews there if you guys want to check it out. But I highly, highly recommend reading that book. I honestly recommend listening to it because the audiobook was so good and the ending is heartbreaking. I'm just going to put that out there. So I'm sorry because that's kind of a spoiler. Number 11 is A Book That Made You Happy, and mine is The Reckoning, which is the Zodiac Academy number 3. I laughed like 6 times in there. It honestly, at the end of the book, I was like, that was actually super satisfying. And I think how it works, because there's 2 authors, like there's Caroline and there's Suzanne. So I think they're each writing one of the sisters, because it's technically about 2 sisters who come from the mortal world and they find out that they're actually fae. So they end up going back to the fae world, and then they're trying to figure out like how to use their powers. It's like school, but it's more like university. Like it's not really high school. So they're taking like classes on tarot reading, on fire magic, on earth magic, how to channel your siren abilities, like all of this kind of stuff. And number 3, they find out who their powers are, or like what their, I can't think of what it's called. It's like their group, like their Pegasus is a group, there's werewolves as a group, there's vampires as a group, like that kind of thing. So they figure out like what that power that they have in them is. There's like the romance part is good. You guys, this series is insane. It's so good. I have 6 of them. I actually have the first 6, and then I have number 9 because I bought myself it when it was on sale. So I'm just excited to read it. I gotta read them all now. And now I actually kind of want to read like other series that these 2 authors have put out together, because I think they're really good authors together. Number 12 is fave book to film adaptation you've seen this year. And mine is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which was the Hunger Games prequel. And then I found out that she's making a new book. What's her name? Susan Collins. She's up there. You guys can't see her, but I have like a special Hunger Games spot up there. So, actually I do. It's really cool. So, Suzanne Collins, I guess, is making a new Hunger Games book. So I think it's after Songbirds of Snakes, but before the Hunger Games still. But I'm wondering if it's going to have like, I think maybe it's supposed to be more of like a Haymitch story is what I've heard. If you don't know who Haymitch is, he's like the mentor kind of person in the Hunger Games series. So yeah, I'm excited to read that book. I'm excited to see whatever kind of movie they put out on that. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, the movie, was so good. If you guys get a chance to watch it, I highly recommend it. If you're into dystopian kind of books, I honestly recommend that series. I had bronchitis, I think. Like way back when you could still go out when you were sick. And I don't drive, so I had to catch the bus. I think it was bronchitis, yeah. So I finished book number 2. I got my sick butt up, went outside, got on the bus, went downtown to the mall, picked up number 3, took myself home on the bus, and then started reading number 3 while I was super sick because I could not put those books down. Like, that's how good they were. My friend Stephanie, who has not read books like since she was in high school kind of thing when she had to read them for school, she actually read that series in probably like a week. I tried to give her more books to read and she was like, nah, I don't like reading. But she also was like obsessed with those books. So if you guys get a chance to read them, I highly recommend those books. And number 13 is Most Beautiful Book You've Bought or Been Gifted. And I have this one here that my friend Colleen sent me. This is the Complete Unmarked series by Miranda Lynn. This is the side of it. As I said, when I picked it up, when she sent this to me, this book alone makes me 10% cooler. Just holding it makes me like look nicer, right? Like I just got 10% more beautiful and I'm already pretty good looking. So yeah, so I love this book so much. This is like the opening pages. There's like flowers there. There's like flowers on the top and the bottom of this book. It is the most beautiful book I have ever seen in the history of books. There's a couple on this, like, 10% more gorgeous right now. Just because I'm holding this book. I'm telling you guys. Like, I mean, if it did not weigh at least like 2 pounds, I would just carry it around with me all the time. Except for it would get damaged and I couldn't do that. I'm actually like thinking about getting some kind of like box that will protect it, but where I can still see it. I know that's so funny, but like, I love this book so much. It is so beautiful. Thank you so much again, Colleen. It's amazing. So yeah, so I keep it here facing the pretty side out, so it's in the videos. Hopefully you guys can see it there. But also, the sun does not come this way, so there's nothing like shining on it in the thing. And actually, my friends Maddie and Grant are giving me curtains so I can protect my books a little bit more in here. So yeah. It's the most beautiful book I've ever seen. That's what it is. That's what it is. And number 14 is what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And I don't know how people answer this question seriously without being just like, all of them, obviously. But that's what I'm going with. I'm going with all of them. I will probably have to say, like, realistically, I'm hoping to get through the rest of the Zodiac Academy. Maybe, like I said, I'm probably a quarter of the way into number 4. But again, they're like 700 pages. So like one of those books takes me an entire month kind of thing. You know, with like the time constraints, like working full time, having a life and all of that kind of stuff. Like you can only read so much so fast. And I mean, like that's personally, like, I mean, some people are way faster readers than I am, but I'm not that fast. So yeah, so I would like to finish those ones. I have 4 through 6 that I haven't read yet, and then I have number 9 again. So I'm gonna have to get like number 7, number 8, and then I think there's number 8.5, which is kind of like, I think it's still 500 pages. So like really it could have just been number 9. But I think altogether there's supposed to be 12 of them at the end. Because it's supposed to be like the zodiac like signs, like each one has a zodiac little symbol on the side of it. So I'll put pictures up in this video so you guys can hopefully see it. I'm not 100% sure which side has more open space, but yeah. So that's kind of what I'm kind of aiming towards, is finishing the Zodiac Academy. That's maybe like probably my big goal. I also do want to read, there's a couple of other series that I got. I can't think of what they're called, but there's like a Dark Academia series I got. Again, I'll put it up on the screen if I can find it. That I kind of want to finish. I bought myself a Venom Dark and Sweet and a Magic Steeped in Poison, which I think is like Asian retelling of some kind of fairy tale kind of thing. So I kind of want to read those. I want to read The Tempest and the Tea. I want to finish Nightbirds because I'm working on that one, because both of those come with my Once Upon a Book Club boxes, so that I can open up my presents and see what my presents are. They're like, honestly, all of them is the answer to this question. I'm not 100% sure how anybody else can answer this question in a different way, as a matter of fact. Yeah, so let me know where you are in your reading. Like, did you guys set up a reading goal on Goodreads? Again, vote in the comments, please, and let me know. Do you think that I should either like amp up my amount, because I did that the first time, like I had 25 and then I went to 35, or do you think I should just like keep it at 35 and then read over that goal? Let me know in the comments, okay? Because that's kind of something, like, I don't mean, this is my first year really using Goodreads at all, so it would kind of be neat to get somebody else's opinion on that. Let me know what kind of books you're reading. What kind of books do you like? Have you read any of the books that I talked about here? Do you like any of those books? That kind of thing. Let me know all of that good stuff. And thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. Please like this video and subscribe if you want to, or don't if you don't want to. You know how I like to tell you not how to live your life. Check out my description box for other content creators, and I also have some Canadian Etsy's down there as well if you want to check those out as well. And thank you guys so much for spending a couple of minutes of your day with me today. I really, really appreciate that, and I really, really appreciate you. Please let me know if you guys have a reading goal, like, and what your reading goal is, and how you're doing on it. Like, are you having a good year this year? I have to say, last year I read like 127 books. This year I'm at 32. So I'm way less than last year. But last year I feel as though I was reading like a lot more audiobooks, and this year I'm reading a lot more physical books. So it's kind of like, that's my difference there, I think. Anyways, let me know all of that good stuff, and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye!